Welcome into Seattle Seahawks Today, and as promised, it is time for another mailbag. All of the questions coming in from our Seahawks Today subscribers. So let's dive into our very first one here from Brian Hong. Seahawks signed Vic Beasley or Tack McKinley. Well, we'll focus in on Vic Beasley here. I am open to this idea. Now, Beasley signed that 1 year, $9 million with Tennessee Titans. Seattle is getting better play. At least they were from last week, out of the pass rush. Carlos Dunlap was clearly a very nice addition to this team. Benson Mayowa should be coming back soon. Rasheem Green's off of IR. Still have LJ Collier, Alton Robinson. But I would explore Vic Beasley. Hey, look, no one signed him when he was initially waived by Tennessee. Clearly not having his best year ever, very far from it. There's some off-the-field stuff to work through because he didn't show up on time to camp and was out of shape and all that. But I would at least explore it. I mean, bring him in for a workout. Worst case is, we don't want him. Best case is, you bring him in for the workout, give him the week to, go through all the COVID protocols, and then he's there for, late November, December playoff push. So get your votes in here. Should Seattle sign Vic Beasley? It's a very simple question. All you got to do is type in your Y for yes, or scroll on down and type in your N for no. From your boy Aiden, should the Seahawks sign Clay Matthews or any pass rusher? Because I saw a huge improvement in our pass rush last week. Well, kind of like we mentioned, Aiden. I am open to the idea. Now, I think of the guys just mentioned, I think I'd rather have Vic Beasley because I am a little concerned that Clay Matthews isn't signed. Teams need pass rush help. They always need pass rush help. And the Denver Broncos brought him in for a visit, and then whether it was Clay's decision or Denver's decision, then I said, no, I think we're fine on that one. Yeah, he had 8 sacks last year. Little bit of an inflated number relative to the amount of pressures he was getting. And after he broke his jaw and came back from that surgery, he was not the same guy. I wonder at this stage in his career, this is actually it for Clay Matthews. Look, Pete Carroll knows him well. That they didn't really bring him in says a lot. From DJ Owen, are the Seahawks going to finally pick up some more free agents like defensive end and corner for depth? Obviously, they need it in a major way because the defense is historically horrible. I don't see Seattle going to the Super Bowl with the defensive roster they currently have. Look, we're going to get into some more questions here about the secondary. But as a reminder, guys, the free agents out there are not very good. You got, in terms of pure talent only, Earl Thomas, we mentioned Vic Beasley, Eli Apple, Tremaine Johnson are out there at corner. Tremaine Johnson was once good, then he went to the Jets, got paid, and sucked. We mentioned Clay Matthews. Just not a great group of available free agents. So let me know in the comments what free agent you think Seattle should sign. And again, it is mid-November. You don't find good free agents left out there. So let me know in the comments. In fact, I will make this the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get that ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. Speaking of one of those free agents, Anish Anad. We need to sign Earl Thomas. This is it's an interesting idea. I'll say that much. Look, talent-wise, it's a fun idea, right? Like, it's Earl Thomas. He was an all-pro safety as a member of the Legion of Boom here in Seattle. Not the same guy he was in his prime. I think we all know that. And the off-the-field stuff is legitimate. Guys, Earl Thomas is good at football. Like, we all know how good Earl Thomas is. Reliable playmaker, makes a ton of forces a ton of takeaways, 2 interceptions every single year for his entire career, more or less. He's awesome. And despite the Ravens themselves being a Super Bowl contender, no one outside of briefly the Houston Texans have shown interest. There's some off-the-field stuff that's a legit concern. Now, what you would probably end up doing is either A, running a lot more 3 safety looks to keep Adams and Diggs and Thomas on the field. You kind of make Jamal Adams almost a hybrid safety linebacker edge. You can move Quandre Diggs in the box more, and then let Earl Thomas be your free safety. Heck, with so many injuries at corner, Griffin and Dunbar and Reed and Amadi, and of course Marquise Blair's out for the year, you could try and play Quandre Diggs full-time at corner and let Adams still be your strong safety. So you got some options there if you want to bring in Earl Thomas, but they all require Diggs and or Adams playing at least a slightly different role than what they've done so far this year. So what do you want to do with Earl Thomas? Should the Seahawks sign him? Type S for sign is yeah. You want Earl Thomas, one more chance despite the whole middle finger burning of the bridge at the end thing. Or type D for don't. I think just because of the way things ended and with as weird as Earl Thomas apparently has become and with as big of a locker room issue he's become, I think I actually might lean towards D, don't. From McFrickin' okay. People need to stop disrespecting Wilson for just having one bad game. Folks, I'll let you in on a secret here around one Russell Wilson. He has been awesome this year at football. Like, he has clearly been one of the favorites to win NFL MVP. He's been that good. 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions this year, already well past the 2,500-yard mark. He could still throw for 5,000 yards, completing 71% of his passes. Like, he's Russell Wilson. He's great at football. And I know that there are some who give Russell Wilson shade. I think we know by now. I am certainly not one of them. I was a big believer in the Let Russ Cook campaign. But even the smart people, the betting experts, if you will, well, they know not to disrespect Russell Wilson. Even after a bad game against the Bills, which still was the defense's fault, by the way, when one side of the ball completely fails and then the quarterback made a couple mistakes, you don't blame the guy who made a couple of mistakes. You blame the main problem, which is the defense. Wilson is still the NFL MVP favorite right now. Plus 120 is actually the lowest his odds have been in several weeks. So if you want to go bet on Wilson to win MVP, well, do it with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code you see on your screen. That is Seahawks125. It'll get you a 125% deposit bonus. And as a reminder, for any new BetUS customers, if you are a new one, we are doing my bet cover guarantee. If the Seahawks don't cover against the Rams and you bet on them to, I will cover your bet loss up to $50. If you need extra details on that, or you already placed your bet and just want to get in the pipeline early, email us, Seahawks@chatsports.com. And I'll put that email link in the description, by the way. Seahawks@chatsports.com. As a reminder, only for new BetUS customers. We've done this before, and the Seahawks covered that game, mind you. Actually, they covered back-to-back games. We did it. So if you haven't already, only for new customers only. From Alicia Bakefi, I don't know how to pronounce your last name there, my friend. Any Josh Gordon news? The answer is no, which honestly, if you would excuse my language here, is bullshit. There's no reason for the NFL to continue to delay any potential Josh Gordon decision. I know that Josh Gordon has his issues and his problems, but the NFL has let David Irving and Randy Gregory and all the other troubled players back into the NFL. Like, I think Rolando McClain got reinstated too. Like, it's ridiculous that Josh Gordon is stuck here in the middle of November waiting on a decision. It's not that hard. Just decide if he's back or not. And if he's not back, then say no. Try again in a couple months. Like, this, just putting him out there stuck in the unknown is really unfair to the player. It's not right at all. Now, if we do get a final Josh Gordon decision, well, hey, we'll let you know about it. We are rapidly becoming the #1 Seahawks YouTube channel out there, and from a growth perspective, I mean, no one's coming close, both in the Seahawks and, heck, here at Chat Sports. You guys have been awesome. This is the fastest growing Chat Sports channel by a major margin, by the way, in Chat Sports history. So if you want more Seahawks coverage, hit that big red button and subscribe today. From a name I'm not going to read, Seattle should go after Dan Quinn and move on from Ken Norton. He, meaning Norton, I appreciate the qualifier there, sir, did pretty well. I think going back to Quinn would help some. I don't even know if Ken Norton did that well. I don't think he was great. I think it's been pretty similar to what happened with Chris Richard before he got fired. I am on board with Dan Quinn. I think a full change back to Quinn, though, is probably a after season move. You guys can pick your DC or get it DQ for Dan Quinn or KN for Ken Norton. I'm gonna go Dan Quinn here. I'm gonna type in my DQ. I saw some comments in our call for the mailbag saying put Norton back at linebackers coach. Great idea if he wants to do that. I think that's a smart move. You don't often see coaches, though, willingly take a demotion, even as guys loyal as Norton and Carroll have been to each other. Remember, when Richard got passed over, when Richard got the DC job and Norton got passed over, Norton left. So I'm going to type in my DQ, but I don't think it's guaranteed that even if you do hire Dan Quinn, you also get to keep Ken Norton. From Fuzz1, is Ethan Pocic the long-term answer at center? Here's the tricky part in answering this. I think Pocic has done fine this year. His PFF grade is not great, 62.3 to be exact, but he's finally getting a chance to prove he can be a starting center, and I think he's done a fine job of it. The issue is he's a free agent after this year ends. So after years of Pocic kind of bouncing all over the offensive line, never getting to fully be a center, which is what he was at LSU, by the way, now it's not just, is he the center of the future? Are you going to pay him to be the present and the future? That is a very difficult decision for a team that is also trying to save some money for this guy named Jamal Adams. So I don't know, but we'll find out in the offseason. If Seattle pays him, then yes. If not, they might be looking towards the draft for another new center.